All right, I read the name of this bill and chills from my lectures with the late and great Deborah Wheeler, a barrister colleague, went through my veins of remembering land law lectures in the King's Inns. It is timely and it is good, and there is no reason why we wouldn't all support this legislation. I'm sure the fears that went through, particularly rural Ireland, are something else in relation to it. I have two matters that I just want to raise. If we're going to do reviews and we're going to look at rights of way and property and our private property rights, I think there are two things that need to be brought up that are urban issues. One of them is in relation to where you have communal pipes, communal waste pipes, and you happen to be the unfortunate homeowner that the manhole is in your front or back garden, and others are misusing the pipes and putting wet wipes and all of these sort of things into it. If you get flooding in your garden, and you have to pay for the treatment of that. And if you contact Irish Water, they completely wash their hands of it and say it has nothing to do with them. And so I have people who maybe are low-aged or are elderly and who are finding themselves responsible. And the answer that Irish Water gives them is that they need to go out and they need to knock on the doors of everybody else on their street and get a contribution towards the cost of clearing that out. Things like this, and my office has, and say, okay, well, if that's the case, do they have the right to close up the manhole and stop this flooding into their garden? They don't have that right, but they have the sole responsibility for the fixing of issues that are caused by other people and over which they have no control. And that puts neighbours at loggerheads with each other. So that's something that we've got to come up with some sort of legislative solution to, or somebody needs to take responsibility. It's not reasonable that independent or, that individual homeowners have to do that. The other is that under the Order 96 of the District Court rules, we have a facility whereby you can go to court if your neighbour is causing noise pollution. But if your neighbour has a series of security lights that are making your front room unusable, there is no solution to that other than to take a case under tort law. And so we need to amend that Order 96. It is reasonable that people have the peaceable enjoyment of their homes. And again, we end up in neighbour disputes where a neighbour goes in, puts up big security lights, and others then end up having to put blackout blinds and all sorts to just enjoy their own home if that neighbour is somebody who's unapproachable and won't go. So we need to amend and move beyond just the noise pollution, and we need to be able to include light pollution in that as well, because the environmental health won't deal with it, the council won't deal with it. There is no solution out there at the moment other than taking a case in tort. I echo Senator Conway's point on e-conveyancing. It's time we accelerated and got that done and dusted. It's long, long overdue. But other than that, absolutely support the legislation and see the need for it. Thank you.